Okay, item 21, the Chief Executive's report.
Just in the interest of time, I won't speak to it, but just respond to any questions, assuming you've read it all.
Great, thank you. Are there questions for Carleen? Yanni.
Thank you. I was just, in regards to the temporary chlorination and the work that we're doing, I just wondering, I didn't see in the report any mention of the review that we asked to be done. So can we just get a time frame of when that's coming back and where it's at?
So I'm just looking at it at the moment and talking with staff, and then we'll provide some feedback to councillors. That will take me a couple of weeks, just in terms of natural justice.
Thank you. Phil.
Thanks for your report, Carleen. Just the section on future of heritage, besides, and it's included in the Mayor's report too, because she was there as well, but I also attended one of those workshops, and they were, as you indicate, excellent. And certainly, there's a lot more clearly, as your report indicates, to the funding we grant, as well as the whole people part of heritage. Especially because of the Ngāi Tahu component, I was just really going to ask if aspects of this report might also go to the Te Honga Council meeting.
I think that's an excellent idea, and have that conversation there.
Yeah. Thanks.
We'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for Carleen? Jimmy.
Only one question. Regarding to your report, particularly mentioned to the University of Canterbury commerce student, work 100 hours in our kind of council. But I just want to know, because before I was told only the engineer student, they have a kind of practice. But now commerce as well. Whether
whole university. Yeah.
Whole university. Whole university. Or whole university.
Yeah, so we're looking as a major employer in the city about where we can support education, training, development, internships. So it'll be a range across a range of areas, from high school students all the way through. So the university's open to a range of options. For instance, not just commerce and engineering, but management, planning. A range of options that we've got. It takes a bit of work, but we're really supportive of that.
Okay, is that true? Whether we have established any kind of relevant policy or bylaw have this one or not?
No, it's really just the way that we work in the organisation. We have a process around it, rather than a policy or a regulation.
Okay, thank you.
Mike.
Thank you. Just a quick comment. I just see in the Smart Cities you got a picture there of the new cycle counter, which was taken exactly 1 month ago. Today, it's just ticked over 50,000 cycle trips.
Fantastic.
So that's 30,000 in just one month.
Excellent. Thanks for that information. Vicky.
How pleased I was to see the report on page 255 about the Botanic Gardens up items.
Yes,
that's so good to see. Thank you.
We got there in the end.
I hope you've seen the nice pictures.
Yeah.
Okay, Anne, and then back to Yanni. Anne.
Thanks for the report. It's really great reading, really positive. New Zealand Sign Language Week. I'm not sure, where did we get to in terms of discussions about having a signer in council, and is that a possibility to going forward?
I haven't followed up on that, but I could do that for you.
I think that would be great if you could. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Carleen. Yanni and then Glenn.
Yeah, I just wanted to check on the Earthquake Recovery Symposium, whether we contribute funding, and if so, what budget that's coming out of.
We'll be bringing you a paper, I think, in the next week. Next week, that's right, around that and around the way that will be run and the decisions that have been made. So essentially, we've been doing a lot of work in terms of giving our own time to actually figure this out and work with the government, DPMC. There'll be a lot of the work that's actually in kind. So they'll be running workshops leading up to it, and that people are volunteering their time to do that. There will be some resource required in terms of venue, which is at the University of Canterbury, so it's not expensive, but supporting the symposium itself. That's coming out of our internal budgets. that we would run for engagement and strategy and policy and those sorts of areas. So because it will provide good information into the ongoing work that we have. The government is still looking for, or continue to look for sponsorships, was an agreement that we had, there will be a decision about whether people will pay a fee to attend. So what's been widely quoted is, if you like, the upper budget that is expected to be used, but it's unlikely that all of that will be used. And some of that will be provided in common.
The idea is that we're half funding it with central government?
Yeah, it's a joint symposium.
And that will come to us next week for a decision?
No, it will become for noting, because remember, this is the symposium that was going to be held last year. It's now being held this year.
Thank you. Glenn.
Thank you. Just under engagement there, and in light of the recent surveys over accessibility to decision making, and this is not a personal criticism or anything, but you know, I'm concerned over not so much moving into public excluded, but how at times lately it's been working against us. So it serves to protect the private sector, but it seems to be coming at the council's expense. And you know,
so understand what you mean. So
is there a way we can?
In terms of the resident survey, we're putting together a plan about how to address that, and as you quite rightly say, the making of decisions and the information about decisions is something that people are particularly concerned about. And so I think there's a range of things that we can do, including making sure that the reports that we do have are more usable and if you like, reader friendly, that we engage early around some things even before decisions are made that might be controversial, that when something's into PX we need to be clear about why it is, and we do have a lot of discussions in public excluded that do have an important commercial issue around them, which we need to be careful about, and we need to have a conversation with those contractors or whoever involved to make sure that they're aware about when we can release those things. So it's about an engagement around that. And then about, it might be that it's decisions that we can release rather than the detail of some of those reports, but also being clear around when we can release information. And so as part of those reports and the things that you sign off on will be, an expectation that within, a few weeks or a week or 12 months or whatever it is, once something's happened, then we can release that full report.
Thank you.
So I think it's being just a bit crisper about that.
Yeah, and I know there are views on this. Obviously, I struggle with the capital acceleration fund taxpayer money with ratepayer implications, but it seems we won't be able to discuss that publicly, and it would be great if could we find a way to
we absolutely will, and I think that's the commitment that's been given. The issue is there's nothing to actually discuss or report at this point. So once there's a process in place and we have an understanding of how we engage in that process, then you can have those conversations, and we'll have a better understanding what parameters around it. So, but we need to have those decisions first before we know what we're talking about.
Thank you. All right, so I'm happy to move the recommendation that we receive the report. Do I have a seconder? Tim Scandrett. All those in favour, say aye. Against? That's carried. Now, we're at 29 minutes past 1. We'd indicated that what we would do would be to take a lunch break between 1:30 and 3 o'clock and then come back and complete the rest of the agenda. Now, we've got the Mayor's monthly report and some resolutions around a recess committee to go. The Strategy and Policy Forward work programme, which I suspect will end up getting referred to a workshop. That would allow us to complete the open agenda probably quite quickly, I would say. But I don't think that the PX item is necessarily going to be quite so fast, just given what I've seen coming through on the email. So if I was to suggest that we adjourn for lunch as planned and come back at 3 o'clock to complete the rest of the agenda, that would be aligned with what we'd said we were going to do. I'm not hearing any massive pushback against that. All right, so let's do that. So let's now adjourn. We'll come back for those 2 final open agenda items at 3 o'clock, and then we'll move into public excluded. All right, so adjourned until 3 o'clock. Thank you.